Seventh chords can add a lot of flavor to your music, yet a lot of people struggle distinguishing them by ear from triads. And if you're not really hearing and understanding the music you make in real time, you're missing out on a lot of the pleasure of creating music. In this video, I'm going to show you a simple tactic to use to distinguish seventh chords from triads, and you'll find that very soon you start to just intuitively sense the difference. I'll show you the tactic, and then we'll do a few practice rounds. I'm Hans at tuneindigo.com. Let's get started. If you want a refresher on what triads are and how they sound and how to recognize those, check out my playlist on triads and chord progressions. Right now, we're going to focus on one particular seventh chord, the dominant seventh chord, recognizing that there are 8 other kinds of seventh chords to explore. We'll get to those later. Drop me a comment if you want to get into those. The dominant seventh chord gets its flavor from being built on the 5th note of the scale. So let's start by walking up from a do. Any do will do. We'll take this do. Do, re, mi, fa, sol. And now we think so, ti, re. That's skipping notes from the 5th note of the scale and then adding fa, so, ti, re, fa. Notice that fa is 7 steps above so. That's what makes it sound the way it does. Now, it's helpful to distinguish the sound of this chord, so, ti, re, from this chord, so, ti, re, fa. Now, in real time, as music flows along, it's kind of tricky to think, so, fa. And now here's where the tactic comes in. You really only need to think, so, fa, because the 7th above produces the same result as a step below. The thing to listen for is the presence of fa, aka a step below so. So, fa. Or we can seek whether or not this note is there. Da, da. I don't hear it. Now I'll put it there. Da. Now it's there. Let's break it down even further. We hear a chord. We find the lowest note and we sing it in our vocal range. Da. And now I sing a whole step below. Da, da. Is it there? If it is, then it's a 7th chord. If it's not, it's a triad. Da, da. It's not there. Now, that's the very deliberate vocal sonar technique. Over time, as you do this, you're going to just sense intuitively whether the chord is a major triad or a dominant 7th chord. Let's practice a few. Here's the way the practice will work. I'll play a simple chord progression that goes so, do, a 5-to-1 chord progression, and I'll play it twice. One of the times we'll have the dominant 7th chord, the other time we'll have the triad, and we'll practice hearing the bass note, singing down a step to fa to seek that. And then I'll do a few more where I don't walk you through it and it's all on you. Here's one. And here's another. Which one had the 7th chord? Well, here's the first one. Da. I find the bass note. Da. And I go down a step. Da. I feel like I don't hear that using my vocal sonar. So I think that the first one is the triad. Now I'll play the second one. Here's the bottom note. Da. And now I'm going to go down a step. Da. And I do hear that in the texture. So the second one was the 7th chord. All right, that's how that works. I'll walk you through one more. That's the first one. Here's the second one. I'll walk you through. Da, da. Second one. Da, da. All right, now I'll do 4 where I don't walk you through, and they'll get progressively faster. Here's the first. Here's the second. Again, here's the first. And the second. The first was the 7th chord. Here's another one. And first one. Second one. In that case, it was the second one that was the 7th chord. Here's another one. Here's the first one. Here's the second one. Here's the first one. Here's the second one. And now I'll sing through it. Da, da. Second one. Da, da. Yeah, there's the 7th. Verses. First one. Second one. That was the first one. That was the 7th chord. Last one. I'll do this really quick. Verses. First one. Second one. Seeking. Da, da. The first one was the 7th chord. There you go. I hope you found this helpful. Please comment, like, how many of those did you get out of 5? If you want more information, check out tuneintogolearning.com, where I've got courses and resources to help you to hear more artfully and to create music more expressively. Thanks so much for listening.